It's recording. Right, hi, and you're Matt.
Yep.
And you've just performed in a series of extracts from Jim Cartwright's 2.
That's correct.
Right, okay. And what part did you play in this, Matt?
I played the part of Fred.
Fred, who's teamed with Alice.
That's correct.
Yeah? And did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it very much. It was quite a good role, actually.
Yeah? Okay. Why was it a good role for you?
Well, he sounded just a really nice person. He sounded almost like my grandfather, which is why I really liked the role.
So, do you feel quite, because the character was a lot older than you, of course, do you feel quite comfortable in playing age?
Well, it is a bit difficult to get the age right, but once you get it down to the basics, you can work it. Because, it is, of course, difficult for young people to act old, but once you get the crack of it, you probably forget your proper age if you weren't reminded.
Okay, all right. So, keeping on that theme, can you give me 2 choices that you made about your character as you were starting to put the character together?
Well, I decided that Fred should have a Gloucestershire accent because the play was set in the north of the country.
Yeah.
And as I have Gloucestershire connections, I thought that was the best accent to pull off.
Okay.
The second choice I made was I decided that Fred should walk with a walking stick. It explains in the script that he suffers from leg issues, which of course would justify the walking stick.
Yeah. Did you think about any background, any history to this character as well? The reason why, you mentioned the leg problems. Did you think about any work-related injuries or illnesses to sort of flesh out your character?
It says in the script that Fred fancied horses, so I assumed that his legs were down to riding issues. As I know from experience, you can get pretty warm legs when you've been riding for a long time.
So do you think he was a farmer, or you think he was
could have been
a manual labourer or something? Or?
He could have been a farmer, he could have been a coalman, he could have been anything that required a horse. Because as he's an elderly pensioner, he was probably around when horses were used quite frequently as opposed to horsepower engines.
Yeah, okay, right, okay. Now, you've given me some idea about the choices you made regarding your character. What about what you feel are your personal strengths? So if you can have a think and try and give me 1 from rehearsal and 2 from performance. These are things that you think you did really well.
I think I did really well to keep my focus on the television, because Fred and Alice are supposed to be watching the television, and during the rehearsal our eyes did tend to wander a bit.
Right.
And once the focal point was put down for us, we managed that very well.
Okay, so in terms of using an object to clearly focus your attention on, okay. What about in performance? Strengths in performance?
In performance, I think synchronization was very well, because there's a part of the script where Alice is singing Elvis Presley's Are You Lonesome Tonight?
Yeah.
Where Fred asks her to get drinks in. And I spoke to my co-actor, Sophie, and I said I thought it would be a good idea if the dialogue ran alongside, so that Alice was in a world of her own and seemingly...
And you were like coming over on top of her lines, yeah?
Yeah.
Which is fine, which is, in normal conversations, things like that can take place.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else in terms of strengths, or is that it? What you?
In strengths, I feel my accent was good. Although we did have trouble with formulating the right accent, because sometimes I wavered a bit in areas. Sometimes I went Cornish, sometimes I went Gloucestershire, sometimes I went Northern.
What about your physicality?
My physicality, I had to bow my legs a bit, so I had to bend my knees, because Fred is described as being overweight, so I needed to portray that in a way. So I bent my legs a bit, stuck up my stomach as far as it could go, and did a bit of a hobble in order to signify that he is overweight and suffering from leg issues.
Okay, right. Now, can you give me 3 areas where you feel you could have improved upon? Again, try and think of 1 from rehearsal and 2 from performance, where you think, oh, I wish I'd done that a little bit better, or, oh, if I had my chance again, oh, I could have done it like this.
I suppose I probably would have made my face a little bit older if I had.
So maybe the application
so
of
maybe,
some makeup.
maybe a beard, maybe prosthetic makeup.
Okay.
I would have also actually got padding in, because I didn't actually have anything that made me look fat.
Okay.
Professional actors, they have padded suits.
Right. Okay. Anything else in terms of how you actually, if we can sort of move away from sort of the props or the clothing or the padding kind of stuff, anything that you could have done yourself that you feel you didn't do in terms of improving your performance?
I feel I could have maybe have gone just a little bit slower on the slow motion scene.
Okay, at the beginning, yeah?
As I felt I was maybe moving just a bit too fast and a bit too slow. So
okay.
It's hard to get the balance right.
Right. Anything else?
No, I feel that's all.
Okay. Overall, because it was a process of, 2 or 3 months by the time we started and we finished, do you feel as a performer you've developed and you've improved?
I feel I have developed and done quite well. I feel it was it was quite a difficult role to take on, and I think I managed very well to do it.
Well, I think in terms of the way you sustained, once you got your character, and the way you sustained your vocal and your physical, was very, very strong. And I think both you and Sophie worked very well together, and it was a pairing that was really a pleasure to watch, because you were very comfortable in your surroundings, in the relationship you built with each other, and it came across very strongly. So that in itself was a really positive piece of work for you to be involved in. So thank you very much, and I will